Welcome back to Tiki Tuesday Talks. Excited to be here as half the country is in some kind of snow or ice storm, dreaming of better weather times. We got a great one coming from a Las Vegas local. Let's get these guys on. Rains, what's happening, man?
How are we doing? I'm stoked to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. You're in your house last minute change, huh?
Yeah. As you can notice, this is not the Golden Tiki, but I tried to bring a little bit here. We got one of our mascots. He's our spirit animal, Charles Vestibule Sasquatch Esquire the Third, right there. And he doesn't like to be called a gorilla, just so you know.
Okay, good to know.
Especially if you hit him up on his Tinder profile.
Oh, okay. I thought
he gets a little animal.
Yeah, right on, man. Tim, what's happening?
What's up? Coming at you from what's up?
Where you calling in from?
Calling in from Denver, one of the states in the snow and ice storm, but it's starting to warm up a little bit. So
yeah, it's a balmy 13, you said, or something like that over there.
Which is better than the -6 of the last couple of days.
There you go.
So
there you go. So you're dressed appropriately for your run outside.
Yes, got the heater on, but I'm tiki always.
Perfect. Love it. Steva, what's happening?
Well, it snowed in Birmingham last night, which, as you may or may not know, never happens here. So it's like it didn't even stick for real, but of course everything closed. It is 14 degrees. So
wow. There you
to
go.
be fair.
Well, that's pretty cold. That's pretty cold.
Tomorrow it'll be 60, so it's fine.
There you go. That's what I'm looking at here, I think. Somewhere in the 50s right now, which is not bad. Aaron, you got a new plant. Tell us about the plant.
New plant. It's growing.
That's pretty cool. It's kind of mod a little bit there.
Yeah, it's got that like sleek trim. So we're going from modern efficiency today. So, but joining you from Baltimore, it's a balmy 51 degrees here in Baltimore. So I kind of feel like I'm in this tropical oasis. So I'm living my best tiki life today. So
I'm mad at you.
so salty.
Listen, it's not Birmingham for nothing.
It's not what?
I said it's not Birmingham for nothing. We are very salty here.
Yes. Well, I guess you should put some on the road.
Get out of here. Stop. We save that money for football tickets. We don't need salt trucks and snow plows.
Because getting around isn't like a necessity at all.
Right. We don't need to do that.
I mean, probably you don't really when it comes every 8 years or something.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I
did get stuck in an ice storm in Kentucky for an entire day last Wednesday. So that was fun. 1 inch of ice on the planes that sat overnight. I thought I was winning because the plane was already there and I was getting on a 6 a.m. flight. But I guess they didn't really think about covering the plane in any way.
No.
In the middle of an ice storm. So,
here we are. But global warming isn't happening. Remember that.
It's not. Don't worry about it. Tommy Tuberville, Alabama.
Let us say Roll Tide. He was an Auburn football coach, so to that I say Roll Tide.
Right.
We don't claim him.
Apparently, you can do anything after you're a football coach.
Yeah.
You're well equipped for any job. President.
Hey.
All right. On that note,
some cars at least.
You guys a little bit. I got to talk to Mr. Rains about some things. We'll talk to you a little later. Sir.
Hello.
Oh,
right. Man, I'm excited to be here. I've always wanted to visit in person, but virtually is
gonna happen.
Almost
September.
as good.
Let's do it. We're doing this thing. We're doing.
Oh, heck yeah!
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. But anyway, while we're here today, let's talk Tiki-Pandemic. This is kind of an iteration on a topic we've had a few times, which is an important topic for us. Is how do you get through this shit, basically, keep people safe, keep your program integrity and all those things. So I'm excited to hear about it from your perspective, with your work at the Golden Tiki, an amazing high volume tiki bar here in Las Vegas. As usual, chat box and questions, please hit us up. We'll share them, whether it's via Facebook or Zabby. The presentation, 30 to 40 minutes. Cocktail session, 10 minutes. 5 questions with Tim will come after that. So without further ado, I'll pass it off to you, sir. Tell us.
Beautiful. Well, yeah, again, thanks, brother. It's always awesome to talk to you. And, you personally, bro, I don't want to get my nose too brown, but you've always been a good support and giving me good advice. And I'm excited, man. But I think this year or last year, of course, we've all learned a lot. We've had to go through a lot. There's been good, bad, and ugly. And I want to remind everyone that we were kind of, we were in a maturing beverage renaissance, like right when this was happening. And then kind of you could call it a new golden age of tiki, like tiki fervor was kind of happening. And then just when we felt like all was right in the world, like when even in casino bars here in Las Vegas, they were starting to use fresh juice and things like that. And people were interested in beverage and doing it right and interested in tiki. And it hit everyone. So it's a great thing that we can talk about it, and talk about what we've learned. Cause that's one thing that I found during this shutdown is being able to talk to people, even if it's just a vent, like has been one thing that's helped us get through it, but then also, share stories and stuff. So
I think that's been an interesting thing. That's been a running theme with a lot of people come on and talked about, hey, how do you navigate this? How do you make the best of obviously a very tough situation? Is like sharing information and ideas. Like, hey, I did this actually worked, or I tried this didn't work, right? And yet, again, from the outside looking in, or I guess even on the inside, and what we're doing is like, you got to try some different things than you maybe would have ever thought of, and be open to that in order to navigate something like this.
Right, absolutely, and that's one thing we learned. Even, and we'll get into it as we talk today. But one thing you learn is kind of back to basics, like those general rules that you always think about during a boom time, like you think about, but maybe you don't always practice them because you're just you're in the boom time, you're going. So it's kind of like those basic things are what you need to adhere to, just like in baseball, fundamentals.
100%. All right.
And then if any of the viewers don't know me, I'm originally from San Diego, but I've lived here in Vegas for a while. 20 years of bartending. So, of course we love our hashtag TikiAF, but my other hashtag is old AF, of course. that's that proof right there. I just a brief summary. I bartended in college. I always loved it. After college, I got into the glamorous world of insurance claims adjusting. And
we should do a seminar on that, man. I'm sure the crowd is dying to know about how that goes.
Oh yeah, it was almost like Office Space, but I cleaned carp on my desk. It was amazing. But
I do love that movie. That movie had to get through a lot back in the day. I'll tell you that.
Hell yeah. But then soon that grew tiresome. So then I moved to Vegas to get back into the beverage industry and bartend again. I bounced all over. Finally got a good job working for Mario Batali restaurants, and then joined the USBG, and then just thirst for knowledge, because even though I wasn't in school, I think what helps get us through stressful times is learning and growing. I think that's one thing that you can focus on, especially when you are a bartender. Like, you can easily focus on all the negative. You need to fill your brain with the good things and the things that are interesting to you. But and that includes like if you're going to be a competition, if you're going to do, competitions but just knowledge in general. But yeah, now I'm the beverage director of Golden Tiki. And I last year, one cool thing, I got the 2019 or the year before last drink specialist of the year, which that one's kind of a big deal in Nevada because it was that one felt good. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. But now just to set the table so we know what we're talking about, and for those that haven't been to the Golden Tiki, it's of course, a tiki bar in Chinatown in Las Vegas. Chinatown is essentially maybe like 5 miles long of strip malls of Asian restaurants and Asian markets, more or less. And we're kind of indiscriminately located in one of those strip malls. And yeah, we're 24/7. We're a gaming bar. But one thing I really like about our bar is that it has that, especially before the pandemic, it has that kind of democratic nature, as in anyone's invited. You can see anyone and everyone there, like from daytime gamers to cocktail nerds, bachelorette parties, tiki fanatics. Depending on what bands we're playing, we'd have live music all the time, and each band would bring a different vibe. And I was always say it's like 10 bars in one, because if you're there 4 a.m. versus 4 p.m, it can be like a completely different crowd, but they're still all in there enjoying that tiki escapism, So,
yeah.
So it was kind of cool, and we had a good. And you know it well. You've been there. You've been there since before I've been there.
Right. I mean, it's great bar. It is, to your point, being 24/7, being kind of having the music aspect. Like, it's different than a lot of tiki bars I end up in. It's obviously got to be a beast, but I do think one part, to your point, that's really fun about it is it's kind of different things for different people, right? You can really geek out, go deep on the tiki catalog and what have you, or you can just be there having fun, drinking a beer. And I think that's a nice aspect of it, is that you can kind of engage on it at the level that you might want, right?
Exactly. And that, sometimes that's a difficult line to straddle, especially when you have, like if you have a crowd of tiki fanatics, tiki heads, and you right next to them, you have that bachelorette party. That's a completely different experience. And then the gamers, it's always been a struggle to be able to do it for everybody. So that's one of our strengths, but it's also one of our struggles. But and then one cool thing though is that we are a good mix of locals and tourists. I'd say it's maybe roughly, unscientifically, maybe 70% locals, 30% tourists, something like that. But that's a fun thing. And then we have definitely a dynamic kind of ownership model. On one side, we have the finance, which is financed by the Lev Group. And then our other owner is Brandon Powers, who, he's almost like it's a modern PT bar. What's that?
Yeah, he's a social media star.
He is. He's like a freedom fighter against fraudulent Yelpers too. You read some of his Yelp responses are very varied and amazing. Sometimes he'll be so, like, if he knows we messed up, he's so apologetic and will give them the world. But if he knows it's BS, he will not. He's not scared to resort to the size of their penis and personal attacks. Okay. And it's pretty entertaining to read. So I think that'll be a book eventually, is just Brandon's Yelp responses. But but yeah, like I was saying, he's kind of modern PT Barnum too. He's a definite showman, and like all the decor, we're definitely decor. Like, all right, once you walk in, before you even have a drink, you're transformed, like all tiki bars. But Brandon's even, brings animatronic birds into play, and like every day he wants and changes something. So it's pretty cool. But in that dynamic, two opposed, views, you have the visionary showman Brandon, and then you have on the corporate side who controls the money. So it's always a push and pull between them. But so far, since 2015, been able to do a lot of fun things, even if we struggled in the beginning, and it's been a bar though for almost over 30 years. It was Little Macau before Golden Tiki, and then before that it was Marker Down, which was the same people that, I don't know if you're familiar with Money Plays, and probably everyone knows a Double Down. It was the same bar designers and same owners back in the day. So you'll see some similarities in all those bars. So, but
gotcha.
But so, leading up, I came out in 2018, and then by 2019, I think we were hitting stride though. Like that's kind of when all these things were happening. Like we were growing 30% from the year before 2018, then 2019 growing 30%. So it was a steady climb. And I think it's partially because of the tiki craze, but it's, and for sure what Brandon does. But then I think what we're able to do on the beverage side, I think helped as well. And this is one thing I'm going to tip my cap to Pete for one thing you told me right when I came on. You're like, I see the things that you need to do. I think you need to make the drinks better, make the staff better, and then bring awareness. And you just encapsulated it all. And that's kind of, it made it easy for me to focus on those things. So like, in 2019, like I said, we were hitting our stride. For brand weekovers in other cities, at least once a month, we would go. Like we did Arizona, Bitter and Twisted. We did Polite Provisions, San Diego. We did Mexico City, Waikiki Tiki Room, and Zombie Village, San Francisco. Like it was really cool. And then on our side, we would always have a guest bartender at least once or twice a month. So we were really trying to reach out to our industry brethren, because, prior to me coming on and prior when we first opened, we went through a lot of turnover, and we I think we had our reputation with the industry was a little spotty, to say the least. Cause we just went through so many bartenders and had a lot of that stuff. So that was a really key point in building it. And then, making the staff better, we were doing more staff training, and then drink quality, and we were getting better products. And because when I came on, I think we had as many vodkas as we did rums almost. Like it was one of those situations where all the flavors, because it was kind of like the old dive bar tendencies were kind of just creeping back in. And partially because that's what, especially late night people that are partying, that's just what they want. But yeah, so we did that, and then charity community support. We did a charity mug program and raised like $7K that year, and a lot of brand partnerships and samplings and stuff like that. So 2019, in summary, we were kind of hitting our stride. And then, as we know,
let me just interject. Well, one, thank you. I'm glad some of my pontification actually resonated. I got a lot to say usually, so it's good to hear that made some sense. But yeah, I think I'm excited for things like you guys, what you were doing with, takeovers and sharing. And that's always very exciting for us. We love to facilitate that stuff, with what we do. We're friends with a lot of these people. So I'm excited for that to kind of get back at some point down the road. And I think it's right on that you guys are doing it. But yeah, so let's get to the fun of 2020 here.
Yes. Just like in the Brady Bunch. Yeah, I'm old enough to have seen reruns of it when they got that Tiki Idol. I think that Tiki Idol, we picked it up or something. The whole world did, and the bad one. 2020. It started off normal. We were guns and blazing, but then we shut down. We shut down in March, and every year, I mean, like every month was a different set of variables. Like we went from shutting down to partially open, then we had to shut down again because staff got sick, and it was a lot of turmoil. So yeah, the variables were crazy. The regulations were crazy. political, social, economic issues were all over the board. But we did have a couple busy months in there, but yeah, like all those challenges came to a head because it affected everyone. Like you were saying earlier, we want to keep the staff healthy. And that was a major thing. You had to change your whole sanitation regimen. And depending on the regulations, you had to change your seating. And it was a constant battle with that. And then just to kind of gauge what people wanted and try to get in the minds of people. And, those are some of the issues. Obviously we were making less than before, and a lot of our fixed costs remain kind of the same. So that was a major thing. And then product availability. And I'm sure if there's, operators listening, there was a lot of issues with that. Every day, every week, we're using something different, and we could either not get ingredients or we have to wait for them. And if you have a tiki cocktail and you can't get orgeat, you can't just make it like a la minute, it takes a while. And then plus, especially like in the Mai Tai, if you're using a different orgeat or a homemade orgeat, your flavor profile is all the way different. And it cascading. And then other cocktails, like if you have, 8 ingredients in the cocktail and you don't have 2 of them, but you're trying desperately not to 86 things if you don't have to. It was every day. It was some ways it was fun, and it was a fun game to try to remake these flavors. And I like doing that. But when it's every single day with 3 or 4 cocktails, it was pretty taxing.
Wow. So what do you think that was related to distributors just not keeping inventory of things because they were trying to manage their cash problems too?
I bet that was it. Yeah, I bet that's definitely part of it. Distributors, yeah, and they furloughed so many people, so you couldn't get a hold of people. That was one part of the issue. Yeah, and I'm sure they're just trying to go through inventory the best they can. And I'm sure off premise was the game for them. So I know they just